When we talk about leaders stepping up in times of crisis, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is becoming a pivotal figure. His efforts to rally global powers into what he terms the coalition of the willing have been both strategic and relentless. This coalition isn't just a hashtag or a symbolic effort, it's a calculated move to reinforce Ukraine's position while pressuring Russian President Vladimir Putin to finally take peace discussions seriously. But the real question is, will it work? Play this clip.
Here in Downing Street, and as you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom, and we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may.
I want to thank you, people of the United Kingdom, such big support from the very beginning of this war. Thank you, your team.
So President Zelensky thanking the people of the United Kingdom, also thanking King Charles, rather. We understand that they will be meeting tomorrow. Look, high stakes right now for Europe. We know that British Prime Minister Starmer sees himself as sort of the bridge between President Trump and President Zelensky. He made a phone call to both leaders after that fiery Oval Office encounter yesterday. But we also know that Europe sees this as a very pivotal time, a very key moment in history. They clearly understand that the world that we've been living in for the past 80 years, post-World War II, has completely changed. This is uncharted territory that many European leaders are seeing here. The moment where Europe needs to take the reins, to be the leader, step up and be the leader of the free world. And so that then brings us to this meeting that's expected to happen tomorrow. This is something that we heard Prime Minister Starmer speaking about when he visited Donald Trump in the Oval Office on Thursday, saying that he will be hosting world leaders from around Europe. 18 countries will be represented in this meeting tomorrow. So everyone from France to Germany to Norway, Switzerland, Canada. We know the Secretary General of NATO will be there, officials from Turkey. And the point of this meeting is to try and discuss how they are going to come together to try and defend Ukraine in the event that Russia were to try to invade again after a supposed peace deal that they hope will be signed. But the big question here is that possible? Could they do that without the support of the United States?
Let me share the bigger picture. Prime Minister Starmer's virtual meeting with over 25 world leaders wasn't just about diplomatic posturing. These nations, with allies like France, Canada, and New Zealand on board, are working on a peacekeeping strategy that includes troops on the ground and military support both at sea and in the air. And mind you, this isn't a mere exercise in planning for the distant future. They're preparing for possible deployment to secure a ceasefire deal. But here's the twist. The United States under Trump hasn't exactly been as enthusiastic in providing that crucial American backstop that some European leaders are hoping for. It's raising eyebrows globally about the U.S.'s shifting stance. What does that say about commitment to collective security? Why does Trump idealize Putin? Does Trump want to be a dictator and enslave America? Under Prime Minister Starmer's leadership, will Europe dethrone the U.S. and become the new world superpower? At the same time, President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine is working diligently on his end. We've seen him appoint Andriy Yermak to head the peace delegation, alongside top officials like his foreign minister and defense minister. This isn't just a diplomatic delegation. It's a well-thought-out move to align Ukraine's core leaders and strategists for high-stakes negotiations. But here's the kicker. They're balancing a very tricky equation. Zelensky and his team are navigating the complexity of discussing territorial compromises, while simultaneously ensuring that any territorial talks don't undermine Ukraine's sovereignty or long-term security. Let me ask you this. How do you negotiate territory with an adversary while ensuring it doesn't weaken your nation's bargaining power? On top of it all, there are sharp contrasts in how major players are responding to this crisis. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, is calling for unity, both from NATO and the European Union. His message, peace through strength. But then we look to the United States, where President Trump's policies have raised concerns, especially after an apparent cooling of the U.S. role in European security operations. It's sobering to think about the potential gaps this creates. Can Europe truly rely on the U.S. as steadfastly as it once did? Ultimately, we're staring at a crossroads in global diplomacy. There's momentum, sure. Leaders like Starmer are pushing ahead, Zelensky is putting his best team forward, and allies like Macron are advocating for coordinated strength. But obstacles persist, and the stakes couldn't be higher for Ukraine, Europe, and frankly, the entire international order. There's a lot to unpack here, people. Russia's response to the proposed 30-day ceasefire has been anything but encouraging. Instead of reducing hostility, they're ramping up their military efforts with coordinated drone attacks and troop movements. Take the Kursk region, for instance. Ukraine's tactical hold there is rapidly eroding under Moscow's relentless advances. Russian forces are pushing Ukrainian troops back to the periphery, shrinking Kyiv's leverage in any potential negotiations. This ground game strategy appears to be a calculated move to strengthen Russia's bargaining position. And to be frank, it's alarming. As Ukraine struggles to hold the line, military leaders across the coalition of the willing are scrambling to iron out the logistics of deploying a peacekeeping force. But here's where it gets complex. Can these nations muster the resources necessary to intervene effectively? We're talking troops, aircraft, sea patrols, the whole 9 yards. Officials speculate such an effort could require upwards of 30,000 personnel and an extraordinary degree of coordination. And it's not just about sheer numbers, It's about getting everyone on the same page to secure Ukraine's future without triggering fresh hostilities. But let me be clear. These are not small hurdles, and the clock is ticking. And while world leaders grapple with logistics and battle readiness, the shadow of a broader conflict looms heavily. Take a look at the nations surrounding Ukraine. Some are already bracing for worst-case scenarios. Conscription, for example, is becoming a topic of sobering discussion. In bordering nations, fears of spillover tensions and direct involvement are prompting leaders to sound the alarm and prepare citizens for the unthinkable. This isn't fear-mongering. It's a stark reminder of how quickly these situations can spiral out. The escalation affects every corner of the region, forcing governments into razor-sharp decision-making under unimaginable pressure. Let's shift the focus now to the very real, very heartbreaking human toll of this crisis. While leaders debate sanctions, military deployments, and logistics, Ukrainian civilians are bearing the brunt of unthinkable suffering. The withdrawal from Sudzha, for example, was more than just a tactical retreat. It caused displacement, chaos, and left entire families scrambling for safety. Russia's intensifying strikes are turning what should be homes and schools into rubble. We hear statistics like thousands displaced, and it's easy to become numb to the numbers. But these are lives, people with aspirations, jobs, families, completely upended. If we zoom out a bit, the global response to the humanitarian catastrophe has been, let's be honest, uneven at best. Yes, Ukraine's allies are pushing harder sanctions on Russia, working towards better security guarantees, and planning military support. Still, millions of displaced individuals remain in limbo, awaiting food, shelter, and some semblance of normalcy. And here's the raw truth. The longer we take to act decisively on this, the worse it gets. Vulnerable populations, children, the elderly, they're at unimaginable risk as this plays out. Humanitarian experts I've spoken to stress the responsibility the global community holds. These aren't abstract concepts. When we talk about acting as advocates, we mean ensuring that everyone in a leadership role takes decisive steps to extend aid and protection. What are we doing to prevent the perpetuation of this suffering? What are we doing to rebuild? Civilians shouldn't have to pay for geopolitical chess games, and yet, here we are. So, as we look ahead, there's a grim but unavoidable truth to confront. This isn't just about strategy or ceasefires. It's about lives being torn apart right now, as we speak, by relentless combat. It's about those slipping through the cracks of political negotiations. Every decision these leaders make or fail to make comes with a very real, very human price tag. And if this episode leaves you with one thing, let it be this: we all have a role. Whether it's holding policymakers accountable, amplifying the stories of those affected, or simply refusing to look away. Because if we let this moment pass without demanding better, we risk becoming complicit in the very suffering we hope to overcome. That wraps up today's episode of The Real 411. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for tuning in and for your continued support. It means more than you know. If you found value in today's discussion, please drop a comment, follow us on all social media platforms, and let us know what topics you'd like to see us cover next. Be sure to sign up for our email newsletter so you never miss an update or exclusive insight. And if you believe in independent media that digs deeper and dares to tell the truth, please consider following The Real 411 on Substack and Fanbase. We offer both free and paid subscriptions, and your support helps us continue producing content that informs, empowers, and sparks real conversation. Thanks again for being part of this journey, because remember, the story is never just the headline. Until next time, stay informed, stay bold, and stay real.